for giving us this privilege to hold this short interview with you. We had actually wanted to stream live, but you can see how busy you are, and it's indeed a privilege, and it confirms the fact that you are working for the sake of the nation, and you want NAPTIP to go the mileage that you had desired it to be. And we've seen the tremendous work you are doing, and so we congratulate you and pray that the Lord will continue to give you more wisdom. We decided to feature you on one of our shows, Nigeria, Our Nation, Our Pride, where we look at Nigeria, and then we look at issues that affect the nation in terms of the core values, how it's being eroded, and the various stigma Nigeria has, and stuff like that. And so NAPTIP, is definitely top on the list, and you can see that because you are doing so much, because NAPTIP is trying to eradicate something that looks like it was almost impossible before you came, because honestly many people didn't know what was happening with NAPTIP. But you are determined, it's not only showcasing it, but really getting Nigerians to know what it is all about. So we appreciate you, and we are glad. But we want to ask that, even though I've mentioned your name, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your job, previous jobs, and how it fits into the present one.
Thank you for having me. My name is Dame Julie Donley, Oka Donley. I'm from Bayelsa State. I'm a lawyer, a chartered secretary and administrator. I'm also a chartered arbitrator and a certified auctioneer. My hobbies are singing, cooking, dancing. I'm actually an author, and I wrote a book, Parenting in the 21st Century. I recently just released 2 of my books, one called Murky Waters and another one on how to combat human trafficking. They were introduced about a month or 2 months ago. Before coming to NAPTIP, I worked with the Securities and Exchange Commission. I also worked with UBA trustees. I worked with the former governor of Bayelsa State, Chief Timi Silva, as his executive assistant for 5 years. I worked in 1 or 2 law firms before I finally started my own law firm. I also run an NGO called the Julie Donny Kidney Foundation. And coming to NAPTIP was very, I don't know what word to use, whether to call it spiritual, or it was so spiritual. The last place I went to carry out sensitization on how to protect your kidneys from damage was NAPTIP. Prior to my coming to NAPTIP, I didn't know where NAPTIP was. I'd never heard of NAPTIP, to be sincere. The coordinator had written letters to various agencies, and NAPTIP was one of those agencies that responded. And I came here myself with my staff, carried out a sensitization campaign, and did a 1-hour education or awareness, on how to protect the kidneys, gave out flyers, and did a free screening for NAPTIP staff. And when I was now told, or when I heard that I was made the DG of NAPTIP, I really did not know what NAPTIP was or who NAPTIP was. It was my staff that reminded me and said that was the last place we went and did a free screening for NAPTIP staff. So, by coming to NAPTIP, I take it very seriously, because I take it that God had a purpose, for me concerning my service to the federal government and to humanity, by sending me back to a place where I'd come willingly to offer free services fully funded by me, because I don't have anyone that's funding my my NGO, fully funded by me, and God said to me, your humanitarian job has just started, you know, so I take this job very seriously. And just before I resumed, I'd written a book called Parenting in the 21st Century, and the book just talks about how to protect children from being abused.
Fantastic. Indeed, it looks like a spiritual journey, and God was leading you somewhere. No wonder when you were appointed just a little over a year ago that you hit the ground running, and you told the staff that you are here in a very serious assignment to fulfill a mandate that has international concern. It's a global one. And indeed, since you resumed, we've seen what you've been doing, how other nations have been looking up to Nigeria as if we are the hope in the eradication of human trafficking that comes in various forms, child trafficking, women, and some for jobs, some for prostitution, and so on, and to various countries. So we congratulate you. We want to ask how your experience has been since in handling the affairs of the National Agency for Protection of People.
So far so good. We have trained officers and men in NAPTIP, well experienced officers and men who give me all the support I need. We work closely with our sister law enforcement agencies. We also work with NGOs, CSOs, and so far so good. We've had a synergized and coordinated way of fighting human trafficking, and it's been all right, except sometimes challenges of people knowing something and not saying something, challenges of people who are rescued and refuse to give evidence because they know the traffickers or the offenders. And apart from those challenges like that, I think we've been able to pull through.
Quite a number of those that have been trafficked have been brought back into Nigeria from various countries. And in terms of rehabilitation and reintegration, which is part of your mandate, how have you been able to cope with the number? Because there have been quite a lot. Even last week from Libya, over 100. So how have you been able to cope? What are the strategies, the plans you have for them that would discourage them? Because some may really even submit themselves again.
Not all those that are returned from Libya are victims of trafficking. So here in NAPTIP, we only concern ourselves with victims of human trafficking. And so even if we have 200 coming, it doesn't mean that NAPTIP is going to have all 200. We may have maybe 10, 5 out of the 200 who are victims of trafficking. We have shelters attached to the 10 offices that we have in 10 different states. And when we identify victims of trafficking, of course, we take them to the shelters where they are given psychosocial support, medical care is given to them, feeding, clothing, and all the rest. We also give them some kind of skill acquisition for those who don't want to go through the formal education. For those who want to go through formal education, we put them in schools. They go to schools, primary, secondary, university, as the case may be. We've had quite a number of children that have been trained through NAPTIP shelter as primary school, secondary school, university. We have 3 graduates that just graduated from the university and have been given automatic employment. As a matter of fact, they resumed already with NAPTIP. And we still have those in the universities as we speak that we're still monitoring. So it's a total package for them. We rescue them, we rehabilitate them, and we empower them.
What's the number you have in the various shelters, the total number you have?
Not in the shelters, because what we do is we partner with other shelters, because sometimes our shelters are full, and then for those who are going to school, we put them in other shelters that we partner with. And so I cannot readily give you a number, because if I'm talking to you right now, we may have 10 people coming to the shelter. So it's not a fixed figure that I can give you, but I can tell you for free that in the last 15 years we've rescued over 13,006 victims and passed through NAPTIP shelters. Yes, yes, in the last 15 years. And this is the current,
integrated.
Absolutely, and this is the current figure. 13,006 have passed through NAPTIP shelters.